Hello, welcome to the November season of Christian Theologians of the early 20th century. Today we will have a short panel of three very influential historical figures. Each of these men have had a profound impact on how the Christian church functions and interprets the Bible. We will hear today from Mr. Dwight Moody of the Holiness Movement, Mr. Walter Rauschenbusch of the Social Gospel Movement, and Mr. William J. Seymour of the Azusa Street Mission. We will have about 5 questions today, and each speaker will respond to 3 or 4 of them. Unfortunately, there will be no time for questions at the end, but we hope that our short program today will give you a snapshot of what some historical leaders have done. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, so our first question for today is, who or what has impacted you the most in your life?
That's a really great question. So I have had many people that have impacted me during my life, but I have to say the one person besides God that has impacted me the most is Martin Wells Knapp. He had a Bible school and missionary training school in Cincinnati, Ohio. The motto for the school was "Back to the Bible." Many of the ways this school is run was the way that I ran the Azusa Street Mission.
Yes. Who had the most impact on my life? A very important question. The obvious answer is God, of course. He led me and guided me through all parts of my life. Other than God, however, the one person I do want to point out is my teacher, Edward Kimball. Of course, I always admired Preacher Mueller and Charles Spurgeon, but Edward was the one that taught me about the love of Christ and eventually converted me.
Question number 2. How would you sum up your ministry's mission?
I believe that we need a social gospel, which to me means that we accept that the gospel of Jesus Christ will redeem our sinful political and social systems as it has redeemed our souls. I believe that sin has manifested itself into our political structures, such as militarism, individualism, capitalism, and nationalism. Jesus bore the sins that are part of our society, and he has given us way to be liberated from all of the evils that oppress the poor. Our political and economic systems are corrupt, and my prayer is that we make them better by submitting them back to Jesus. He came to save them as well.
My ministry, also known as the Apostolic Faith Movement's mission, is to stand for the restoration of the faith once delivered to the saints, the old-time religion, camp meetings, revivals, missions, street and prison work, and Christian unity everywhere.
When I was younger, I had wanted to save up a small fortune. After working for my uncle selling shoes and meeting Edward, I realized that such a thing was trivial when compared to the fortune of God's love. I decided to share this love with everyone and anyone I can meet, to make people get out of their seats. Jesus Christ desires the salvation of all, and so I will work to help accomplish this.
Question number 3. What pains you the most about the issues of today?
The thing that pains me the most is the racial division in this country. As a child of slaves, I saw firsthand the cruelty and dehumanization of slavery. Then, after the war, society was segregated. I was not able to learn or even preach next to my white counterparts.
There are 2 things that severely pain me about our society today. The first is passivism of the church when it comes to issues of social and political unrest. Our churches have forgotten the very purpose of the prophets, and which was to bring salvation to the nation of Israel by teaching the truth of corruption. Our churches are to be just like the prophets, seeking individual and national redemption. The other thing that severely pains me about our society today is the separation between the social unrest in our country and the church. I believe the church such be a part of the redeeming of the society.
Question number 4. What do you think is the role of the church?
The role of the church? is to be active. The church must be active in bringing fellow people to Christ, to ask for forgiveness for their transgressions, to repent.
As for the role of the church, I believe that the church's role is to be unified and operating in the power of God. When a church or mission finds that the power of God begins to leave, they should come as a whole and confess, and let all get down before God, and repent and pray to God until the old-time fire and power and love come back again. When Jesus comes back to earth again, he expects to find the church just as full of power and fire and the signs following as it was when he organized it on the day of Pentecost.
Question number 5. What topics do you most like to preach about?
Most recently, I have preached most often on the creation of a theology, the social gospel. Before now, we have relied on a theology of man, but we have not really found a way for a theology of society. Recently, I have been sharing a great deal of my thoughts with students and colleagues. I will continue to reference the prophets in my sermons, as well as the tangible work done in Jesus for redemption.
When I think about it, the one topic that I seem to always come back to is one about conversion. I try to make people understand the love and grace of God in order for them to repent and ultimately come to Christ. Just as how it was for me, even when people are converted, the experience is mostly emotional, lacking in knowledge of all the things God has done for us. Furthermore, people need to understand that salvation can be found through God's guidance and through His guidance alone, and our society's problems will also be alleviated through Him.